and welcome to my first vlog of 2026. I'm not sure how much I've read today so far. I think it's about, just calculated it and now I've forgotten it. I made a lot of notes. Hello book friends, I'm Jen and welcome back to my reading life and welcome to my first vlog of 2026. I am trying to do more vlogs this year. It's one of my own personal goals for my channel, so hopefully this will just help me ease into things. But for our very first vlog, I'm doing something that I actually saw on another booktuber's channel. I originally saw this on What Victoria Read on her channel. I will link her channel and her video that she did of this same idea down in the description box below, so be sure to go and check her out. But we're going to see in this vlog how much I can read in a 24-hour period. Now, there are a few different ways that I think other booktubers have done this, but I'm doing what Victoria did, which is from the time I start, according to my watch, until 24 hours from that start time, other than eat, sleep, take a shower, do those just kind of basic things. All I'm going to do for the next 24 hours is read. And I'm going to see how much I can read in that 24-hour period. I'm just kind of curious. I get a lot of questions about how fast I read, so let's kind of get some sort of an idea. I have my trusty notebook here. I am going to log my start and end times for when I'm reading and then how many pages I read from each of the books. I have a big stack. I'm going to show you the books that I am currently in the middle of. I have 5 books here. Always many books on the go here at Jen's Reading Life. I will calculate the number of minutes read over the course of this 24-hour period, and then I will tell you how many pages I read in those minutes. So that is what we are doing here today. Before we get started, I thought I would share with you the books that I am currently reading. This is the big stack I have right here. Let me just show you the books. First of all, I am reading a poetry collection called It's Hard to Be Hip Over 30 by Judith Viorst. This is the Persephone edition of this, and I am a little over halfway through, so you know, if maybe I need just a little break at some point, I may read some of the poems in here. And then I really need to make some progress in Jane Austen's Selected Letters. I started it earlier this month and I haven't really gone back to it. I'm on page 30 and there are 209 pages of letters. So that's a lot of pages still to read. And I really need to get this finished so that I can chat about it with all of you who are joining me for this optional read along for January. And then, of course, I am still reading Sense and Sensibility. I am plugging away with my reread, loving it so, so much, enjoying all of the discussions that are happening on my channel community page and also on Discord and, of course, during our live. And we have one more live coming up at the end of the month to wrap it all up, so very excited for that. But we'll probably read some more pages from that over the next 24 hours. And then my Book Jenny's Patreon group, January is one of our quarterly read-along months, and we are reading These Wonderful Rumors by Mae Smith. This is a nonfiction. It is a young school teacher's wartime diaries, and she was a school teacher in a small Derbyshire village in England during World War II, and she kept a diary throughout the entire war years, and so these are her diary entries. So working my way through that, I have a lot to go, and we are meeting to discuss this in just a little over a week. So yeah, I need to get busy on this one. So I actually think this is the one I'm going to start with as we get going here. And then lastly, I just started this, but I am really excited about it, and that is The Child from the Sea by Elizabeth Goudge. And my lovely Cozy Reader Book Club co-host Rebecca talked about this in her most recent video, and I realized I had it on my shelf. I've been wanting to read more Elizabeth Goudge She said it would make for a great chunky winter read, and I thought, I'm going to give it a go. It's a historical fiction. Apparently it was the last book Elizabeth Goudge wrote. And yes, I was sucked in from the first paragraph. So I'm very excited about this one. This was not in my reading plans for this month or this year, but I'm a mood reader. And so this is a perfect example of mood reading coming to the forefront in my reading life. And yeah, I'm just going to go with it. So enjoying that one. I'm not very far into it at all, but hopefully in the next 24 hours, I will get a little farther. I'm going to start with these wonderful rumors, and I have a snack for myself. I made some homemade blueberry muffins, so I'm going to have a blueberry muffin, and I have a mug of tea here, so I'm going to enjoy that while I do some reading. And it is 4:02 p.m. Can I show you? Can you see my watch? Does that show up? Yep, looks like it. Okay, so 4:02 p.m. That is when we're starting. I will finish up at 4:02 p.m. tomorrow, which is Saturday. Let me write my start time down here. And I think I have probably about an hour to an hour and a quarter-ish of reading time before I need to go and start making dinner. Let's get reading. And oh, I better write down what page I'm starting on here. I am starting on, let's see, page 152. Let's get reading. Can we see? 5:17? Okay. I'm going to pause here with my reading for the time being. So I made it to page 187 in these wonderful rumors. Stopped at 5:16, and I'm going to make dinner, eat dinner, do the dishes, and then I will return to do some more reading. These wonderful rumors, I'm enjoying it, but I'm wondering if it's not a book to necessarily like just kind of binge read cover to cover, because it's diaries. It's, you know, just a lot of kind of her day-to-day life. And I mean, there is a certain amount of monotony in that, as there is in most people's life, right? We do the same things over and over and over again. I mean, they're kind of in the midst. I'm not sure if it's the Blitz right now. I mean, it's 1940. It's December 1940. So even though they're not in London, they're being bombed pretty much almost every night. So that is a big part of what she's talking about right now. So yes, many more years of the war to get through though. And she journals most days. So, you know, every year is a lot of entries. There's lots of references to books that she's reading. She likes to read, and she's a teacher. So references to her school life. She doesn't really like teaching that much. It doesn't appear. She has a lot of kids to take care of though. I think she has about 45 or 47 students right now. So that's a lot to take care of every single day. Their days are pretty long too. Like the kids don't leave until 4 o'clock, I think. So that makes for a long day. I can understand her frustration. But yes, so I do like all of the references to different books, and she loves Diary of a Provincial Lady. So her diary very much reads like that. You can tell she's kind of taken her tone from E.M. Delafield's tone. So I'm not sure if I'll read more of this tonight. We'll see how I'm feeling after dinner. And if not, I will move on to something else and make progress in another book. So I shall return after I have done all of my dinner time routine. So we'll see you in a little bit. I am back. I am fed. The whole family is fed, and the dishes are done, and it is now 6:30. Oops. I was hoping this would work with the watch not on my wrist. 6:39 p.m. and I am going to do a little more reading now. I will probably read in here until maybe 9:30. So that is a good long chunk of reading. Oh my goodness. I can't remember when the last time was I read that long. I mean, I'm sure I will take breaks, but I think what I'm going to do for this first little section is read more Sense and Sensibility. I'm actually a little bit behind. I have about, let me see, I think I have about 30 pages to where I need to be for today, actually, for today's discussion. But since it's a reread for me, it wasn't like that big of a deal that I didn't make it. And I just kind of skimmed through in case anybody brought up anything that I needed reminding of as to where we're going to get to. So I want to get through at least those 30 pages, and maybe I'll read one more chapter to just start getting going on the final section. And then after that, I think I might go back to The Child from the Sea. Not that you can see what this is, this big black book. Which way is right side up? There we go. I will get this. The Child from the Sea by Elizabeth Goudge, and I think I'll read some more of that because I'm just really in the mood for it. So, okay. Time to get some more reading in. It is actually, what time am I starting here? 6:41. Let me write that down, and then we'll see how far I get on what I have chosen to read now. So, let's get reading. Another check-in. It is 9:06 and I have been reading since my last check-in. Just took a few minutes break to make myself a cup of tea, so take a sip and then put this down because it's hot. Thought I'd give you a little update on what I've been reading. As I said before, finished what I needed to for Sense and Sensibility and read one more chapter into the next section. So less than 100 pages to go in this, and I'm sure I will read some more from this tomorrow. And then, oops, as I said, picked up The Child from the Sea, and I read exactly 30 pages in this, so making some good progress. I am really, really loving this. So this is the story of Lucy Walter, who apparently was, I guess, secretly married to Charles II. So this is in the, I want to say the 1600s. And so Elizabeth Goudge has written a historical fiction imagining her life because apparently there isn't much known about her. I didn't know anything. I'd never even heard of her before. So this is a completely new story to me. But I love historical fictions that are based on not very well-known real life people. And clearly I know nothing about Lucy Walter and very, very little about Charles II. So I'm excited to see where this takes us. It starts with her very early childhood. I think she's about 9 or 10 years old when the book starts, and she grows up in a castle in Pembrokeshire, and which I believe is in Wales. And then I guess it ends when Charles is restored to the throne of England. So it's going to cover quite a long period of time. And the book is broken into 3 sections. Book 1 is the child, book 2 is the idyll, and book 3 is the woman. So loving this so far, and very different from everything else I'm reading right now, which I really love. I don't like it when my books are too similar because then I have trouble keeping them straight in my mind. So I do try to read things that are not very alike. And so the question is, what am I going to read now until I probably go to bed in about 45 minutes to an hour? So I think I might go back to These Wonderful Rumors. I really do need to continue making progress in this one. I think that might be what I'll do, and then see how far I get in that, and then maybe I'll read a few poems from It's Hard to Be Hip Over 30, because these are a really quick read, and I've been reading them at night before bed, so this might be a good time to get in a few more pages of that. But I'll probably check in when I leave this room, and then I won't check in again until tomorrow morning after that. So I will let you know in the morning how much I read in bed before I go to sleep. So I'll make sure to write that down, because otherwise I will forget. But I'm going to read a little bit more right now. And oh, I did want to say, I didn't mention this when I first was chatting to you at the beginning of the video, but this is not a normal like reading 24-hour period for me. I am doing this specifically because I knew this weekend we didn't have anything going on with my family, and I was going to be home. And so I just thought I would do this little exercise in seeing if I just dedicated all of my spare time to reading, how much could I read? So this is not my normal life. I don't normally sit and read this much. It's actually kind of strange to do this much reading in one go, and to be looking ahead to tomorrow and have so many hours of reading ahead of me. It's kind of strange. I will be perfectly honest and say I may have dozed a couple of times for a few minutes during my prior reading sessions. Does anyone else get sleepy when they read? I do, and it's so cozy here on my chaise lounge. I have my cozy blanket, and sometimes that happens. So, you know, we'll take that all into account. But, you know, when all is said and done, we'll get a general idea of how many pages, excuse me, I was going to say chapters, how many pages I can read in the general amount of time that I give myself to read over the course of 24 hours. So I think today, let's see, so far already I've read about an hour and 15 plus 2 hours and 2 hours and 15. So I've read 3.5 hours already since I've started. So that's pretty good. Okay, enough chit-chatting on and on and on. I'm going to mark the time is now 9:12, and I'm going to get back to These Wonderful Rumors. And I'll check in with you guys one more time tonight before I head to bed. Back for my final check-in for the night. It is 9:58, so almost 10 o'clock, and I am going to go get ready for bed, and then I will read a little bit more before I go to sleep. So I will check in with you in the morning and let you know how much I do then. But I did read more of These Wonderful Rumors. I read 31 more pages in this. And then I read a few poems from It's Hard to Be Hip Over 30. And that ended up being 14 pages in this. So I'm not sure how much I've read today so far. I think it's about, just calculated it and now I've forgotten. I think it's about 150 something pages I read so far. I don't know how much time that is. Well, let's see. I had said it was 3.5 hours earlier, and now I've read another about 45 minutes. So 4 hours and 15 minutes, something like that. So that's where we are today. Okay, but I am tired. It is a Friday, so I've been up since about 6:40 this morning. And I'm ready to go to sleep. So I'm gonna go feed my cats because they need to be fed one more time, and then close up the house and wash my face, brush my teeth, get my PJs on, and curl up and do a little more reading, which I will make a note of in my trusty notebook here. And I will see you all sometime tomorrow morning. I'm not planning on trying to get up at any specific time. I'm just going to wake up when I normally do. I will see you all tomorrow morning. Good morning. It is currently 8:14. I am up. I have made a giant mug of tea. Quick sip. And now I'm going to do a little more reading. And I just thought I would update you on what I read last night when I went to bed. So I read for about 30 minutes, a little more of These Wonderful Rumors, and I read 20 more pages. So that is where I am. So today I am going to, I think, start again with These Wonderful Rumors, but I also brought downstairs The Child from the Sea, so I can read that if I'm in the mood for it. Yes, so I am going to move over to the couch right here, and I might turn the fireplace on because it's a little chilly this morning. And yes, gonna do a little bit of reading. So I will do that, and then my husband and son are still sleeping. So once they wake up, we will do our breakfast routine, and then I will maybe read a little bit more and then shower and get dressed. So that is the plan for this morning. And yes, so it is now 8:15 and I'm going to get reading. So here we go. For another check-in. It is now about, my glasses, 3 minutes after 10, and I have read this morning another hour and 10 minutes or so, and I've read another 52 pages of course, These Wonderful Rumors. So spent the morning reading that. I am going to go take a shower and get dressed, and then I'm going to go back to more reading, and I will check in again with you then, but just wanted to give you a little morning update. I had breakfast, fed the family, fed the cats, cleaned up the kitchen a bit, and yes, now I am, as I said, going to go get ready for a day of reading. So yes, it's very strange to be spending the whole day or most of the day reading, and but kind of nice. And I'll be back to let you know what I'm going to be reading next. And I think maybe I will try to calculate out what the current amount of minutes and total pages is that I've read. So I will give you an update on that as well. Back. I am, well, sort of dressed. I'm in went from my comfy PJs to my comfy loungy clothes for reading all day long. Made myself a cup of tea, as you saw, and it is currently 11:21 and I'm about to start reading again. I did actually listen to a chapter in my audiobook, which I'm listening to Enter a Murderer by Nio Marsh, and I have the physical book as well. So I read 9 pages while I was getting dressed. So I did do that. So I did get a little bit more reading via audiobook done, but now I think I'm going to go back to Austen. So I'm going to read for a while in Sense and Sensibility. Like to get at least 2 more chapters read from this, and then I really need to make some progress in the selected letters because I am not very far at all. So then I'm going to switch to this and work on this for a bit. It's now 11:22 and I will check back in a little while. So let's do some reading. It is now, 12:32. So I've read for an hour and 10 minutes. I'm going to break and have some lunch now because my tummy is grumbling, but I thought I would come in and give you guys a little update. So I read, I want to say I read 4 chapters in Sense and Sensibility, which ended up being almost 30 pages. So good chunk of that. And then I switched and read some of the selected letters. I read about 22 pages in this. So 50 something-ish pages altogether in this last hour or so. And I'm probably going to take these wonderful rumors downstairs with me and read a little bit more in this while I eat. And I just realized that I had forgotten I was going to kind of give you an update about my totals. So I totaled up everything I read yesterday. So I read for 282 minutes yesterday, and I read 173 pages in those minutes. If I calculated that out correctly, which I believe I did, it came to about 37 or 38 pages an hour. Then I added in what I read in the morning also, and then it upped it to about 43 pages an hour, I think. So again, I think some of it just depends on what I'm reading and how dense each page is, because like if I look at The Child from the Sea, obviously there are lots and lots of words on the page, so it takes longer to get through a given page than say this, which is broken up. This is These Wonderful Rumors, which is broken up obviously because it's journal entry. So there's a lot more white space on the page. So I can read more pages in this faster than I can read pages in this. But again, so I think I average maybe somewhere between 35 and 45 pages an hour would be my guesstimate, but we'll see where we land at the end of today. So still have 3.5 hours left to go. But right now it is time for lunch and a little more of these wonderful rumors, and I will check back in with you in a little while. Gonna eat my soup and do a little more reading. I'm back from eating lunch. It is now 1:12 and I read at lunch for about 15 minutes, got another 10 pages in this, and I think I'm just going to continue on with this for a little while because I'm just in the mood for it at the moment, and then I'm going to go from there. So like I said, it's 12 after 1 and I have until 4:02 p.m. to do some reading. So let us see what I can get done in the next slightly under 3 hours. I will check back in maybe in an hour or so and let you know what I've done and what I have read to that point. So I'll be back later. It's now 3:06. I just read from 1:12. Okay, full true confession time. I may have dozed off for about 20 to 30 minutes in the middle of that. Sometimes you get sleepy, but despite that, I finished these wonderful rumors. So yay, completed that. I've read 94 pages in this, so that's pretty good. It is time for a little tea break, and I think I'm going to get myself a blueberry muffin because it is calling to me, and then I'm going to come back and read a little bit more until 4:02, and then I will return and wrap all of this up, the 24 hours of reading. We will calculate out how much I actually read, like how much time I spent, and then how many pages I read in total. And we'll kind of figure out approximately how many pages per hour I read. May have to take into account some of my naps, so we shall see. But I'll be back after I have a snack and decide what I'm going to read next. So I will see you soon. It is 3:21, so this will be the last 40 minutes of reading, and I am going to spend some time with the child from the sea. So I'm going to get right to it. I'm going to do one last reading sprint session, and I will be back soon. And that's a wrap on my 24 hours of reading. I made a lot of notes. So I kept good track, I think, of the time I read. So I will just give you the stats. I have calculated everything out in terms of the total minutes that I read, the total number of pages that I read, what that calculates out to in a total number of hours, and then approximately how many pages per hour that equates to. So for 24 hours, I read a total of 604 minutes. That came to 411 pages read. That was just about 10 hours, so like 10 hours and 4 minutes, which comes to 41 pages per hour. Now, I did then also subtract out 1 hour because I think that's about what I napped, 45 minutes to an hour probably. And so that gets me to about 45 pages per hour. So I'm going to say probably I average between 40 to 45 pages per hour in terms of my reading speed. I don't know what that means exactly. I think it's rare that I actually read for a full hour in one go, so this was very unusual for me to read this much. I'm curious if any of you would be interested in me vlogging just a normal day and how I fit in reading in just a normal day, where I'm not purposefully sitting down and reading for long periods of time like I did here for this 24-hour period, which was very fun, and I got a lot of reading done. So I thought I would just recap what I read over the course of the 24 hours. And I will start off with the one book that I finished, which was, of course, These Wonderful Rumors by Mae Smith. I'm glad I finished this. I will be discussing this with my Book Jenny's Patreon group next weekend. So I'm all set for that. So that's fantastic. Not going to talk about this other than just to say this is a nonfiction account of Mae Smith's journals that she kept, or diary, during World War II. So from the start of World War II all the way through to the very end. If you're interested in an epistolary novel written as diaries that's nonfiction, I definitely would recommend this one. So, but I won't say more than that. I'm going to save all my thoughts for the Book Jennies next weekend. And then, of course, I was reading The Child from the Sea by Elizabeth Goudge. This is only my second Elizabeth Goudge novel. I read Island Magic a few years ago. Very much enjoyed it. Have been wanting to read more, and I can't remember now where I got, I think 3 Elizabeth Goudge books, this one and 2 others. I'm blanking on the other titles that I have. I can't remember if it was somebody on Instagram who was selling these secondhand copies or if I found them on Etsy or something, but I know I got them as like a bundle, and it's escaping me now exactly where, but I've had these on my shelf for such a long time, at least since I read Island Magic, which keeps escaping me what the title is. I've probably had these for somewhere between 3 and 4 years and haven't picked them up. I'm so glad that Rebecca prompted me to start this one. It is wonderful. I'm enjoying it so much. I mean, it's definitely an undertaking. My edition has 598 pages, so almost a 600-page book. So I probably won't finish this in January. It'll probably carry over into February, but very much enjoying that one. Of course, I read more in Sense and Sensibility, so I have, how much left to go in this? 80 pages? 70 pages? 70 to 80 pages left to go. Loving my reread of this, of course. Cannot wait to chat with everybody. When you see this video going up, we will be chatting about this one live that afternoon or evening, depending on where you are. So very much looking forward to that, and I'm glad that I was able to make some progress in this, as well as the selected letters of Jane Austen. So I still have quite a lot to read in this, but I did at least get some more of this read, so I will continue on with this and hopefully finish this week also. And then lastly, I did read a few of the poems in this last night. I'm just working my way through it, and I'll probably just read a few every night this week, and I'll be done with this by the end of January for sure. So It's Hard to Pip Over 30 by Judith Viorst. If you've never read Judith Viorst, she's very funny. She wrote the children's book, which was one of my favorite books when I was a kid, which is Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. We've all had those days like Alexander, and I just loved that book. I will say the poems are very of their time, and she was writing these, I think, during the like 60s, 70s, somewhere, maybe 70s, 80s, around then. And so you can definitely tell. They definitely are a throwback to that time period, which is kind of fun for me because that's when I was growing up, and so it's just very nostalgic to kind of read about that. Even though I wasn't an adult, she's definitely talking about adult topics in her poetry, but it's still fun anyway to like the references she has to things going on in the world, pop culture references, you know, just like all kinds of stuff from the 70s, which we're in an interesting time. Those are the books that I read. Oh, and I did listen to one chapter of my audiobook, which is Enter a Murderer by Niall Marsh. And I am just past the 50% mark on that one. So that is my audiobook on the go at the moment. I hope you enjoyed coming along with me on my 24 hours of reading. And let me know if you enjoyed this, if you would like to see something similar to this. You know, I'm always up for especially vlog ideas because sometimes I struggle with what to vlog for you guys, but I want to get better at it and I want to do more because I know there is some interest in me vlogging. So let me know what you'd like to see. And I am so glad that you came along and spent this time with me over the past 24 hours. And if you enjoyed this video, if you could hit that like button and also the hype button if you are on the YouTube mobile app. And the hype button helps smaller creators like myself get more exposure on YouTube and helps people to find my video by YouTube promoting it more, the more hype points I get. So just so you understand what the hype button does. At least that is my understanding of it. And if you're new here and you would like to see more vlogs or more sit-down videos, more book recommendations, more wrap-ups, book hauls, all that good stuff, then I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button and join my cozy bookish community. That will do it for today. I will be back again very soon with another video. And until then, I wish you a good book and a warm cuppa. Bye!